talk about Life is On campaign. But it's actually 25 years of Schneider Electric in Nigeria, and they believe they've been making impacts, especially in the area of energy resources. For 25 years of existence in Nigeria, Schneider Electric would like for us to know that if we could have that slide to get a bit of information on Schneider Electric. So they've been here for 25 years, and they say their purpose is to empower all to make the most of energy and resources, bridging progress and sustainability for all. They want to be a trusted partner in sustainability and efficiency. They are deeply involved in automation and digitalization to smart industries company. They have an ecosystem of 150,000 colleagues and more than 1 million partners operating in over 100 countries, and they say they are guided by meaningful purpose of a sustainable future for all. Let's elaborate on this now. Right here in the studio, we have the country president of Schneider Electric, Mr. Jibola Akindele. Mr. Akindele, good morning.
Good morning.
I think I should start by saying congratulations, 25 years in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
How's the experience been?
Well, we are extremely proud of what we have achieved over the last 25 years. Maybe I just give you a bit more background on who we are. Schneider Electric, we are headquartered in France, originally a French company. We have been around for about 200 years now, so in different forms, you know, and in different places. We pride ourselves, we call ourselves a global company. It's a global company with a lot of local flavor. We have about 153,000 employees in 110 countries, so we are actually quite big.
So those numbers have been updated, because what I had here is 100 countries.
Just exactly. In Nigeria, we've been here for about 25 years. We started in the year 2000 with 1 employee. Incidentally, she's still with us today. In fact, 3 of our first 4 employees are still with us today. So it shows the kind of work environment we create, you know, for our employees. So we started with 1 employee at an office at Eleganza Biro Plaza in Victoria Island. Then in 2006, when we had about 40, 50 employees, we moved to another office on the mainland, Tunde Gafar Street, of Adini Jones. Just last year, we've just moved into a new head office, headquarters for West Africa, which would then serve the whole of West Africa. You know, we have about 250 employees now.
In Nigeria? In
Nigeria, you know, serving critical industrial segments, including power and grid. You know, the power sector is one of the big areas for us. Just on Friday, 4 days ago, we joined the Honorable Minister of Power, the Commissioner of Power in Energy in Lagos State, and the management of Ikeja Electric to commission a brand new 15 MVA injection substation in the Ikotun area. So that new substation will serve about 50,000 residents in Ikotun. So beyond the power space, we also help deliver safely hydrocarbons across the hydrocarbon value chain, whether it's upstream, midstream, or downstream, you know, working with several players in the sector, you know, whether it's gas, whether it's oil, or even in the refinery space, you know, to ensure that hydrocarbons are delivered safely and in a controlled process. Beyond that, we're also quite big in buildings, right? Whether it's commercial buildings or residential buildings, we provide solutions across those spaces. If you look at the commercial side, your building management systems, you know, that help ensure that there is energy efficiency within your buildings and that your buildings are safe from a security perspective. And the same thing on the home side, from home automation to safe products, switches, sockets, so everything, right? And you know, I think one area where people might not even know we play is in the transportation system. So if you look at the Blue Rail, which is the first intercity rail line that we have in West Africa, it's all been electrified by Schneider. So all the electrical equipment, it's all Schneider. So over the last 25 years, we've been supporting critical sectors, including telecoms, manufacturing. Of course, manufacturing is quite big, supporting their processes, electrifying their processes, automating their processes, and bringing a lot of digital and software solutions as well. So yes, it's been an exciting 25 years, and we look forward to the next 25 years.
All right, I guess Nigerians are looking forward to that too. But I hear you talk about homes, manufacturers, the big projects. You know, the rail is a very big project.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I'm just curious how you play. I know you do electric.
Yeah.
But Nigerians look more to, when you talk about sustainability and renewables, they look more to the way of solar. do we have you playing active there,
Absolutely.
especially for homes?
Absolutely. So again, the renewable space and sustainability is something that we really are pouring a lot of investment in right now. Maybe I should start by mentioning that for the past 2 years, we've been named the most sustainable company in the whole world, right? By Time Magazine, by Corporate Knights, by practically every institution that actually releases the metrics. So it's not something that we preach, it's something that we practice in our own operations as well. So we're very big in the area of renewable energy, from solar particularly, from your residential home solar solutions, even for much smaller things than that. Mobile solar solutions, we call them the Mobia, because they're mobile, right? So you're talking of solutions from like 10 watts that can basically charge your phone or your laptop, to much bigger solutions like 100 kilowatt solutions that can be used in off-grid areas to power villages, for example, to solutions that are also grid-tied. So you're looking at the concept of interconnected mini-grids, where you can connect your mini-grid to the grid itself. So we have solutions for that can not just bring energy, but clean, reliable, and sustainable energy to the grid. And then you can connect it to the grid and use it depending on what time of the day you want to use it. And we're also serving both commercial and industrial customers as well. So it's not just the off-grid or the grid side. We're also having solutions for commercial and industrial customers who are looking at more cost-effective ways of powering their operations and not relying on generators. Because if you look at it, I mean, the cost of renewable energy, particularly solar, has been going down. Right, so it's becoming cheaper and cheaper. It's becoming more affordable, and I think people are beginning to buy into it. And quite frankly, there's a lot of funding coming into that space as well. So, yeah, it's an area we're really focused on.
Yeah, but we still have the issue of power reliability, power sustainability, supply in Nigeria. What can we expect?
So, as I said, just on Friday, right, we did a big launch, commissioning of a 15 megawatt injection substation in the Koto area. So that's some of the things that you can expect. As we all know, there's been a lot of underinvestment in the grid for a very long time. So there are all sorts of figures out there in terms of how much we need to invest in the grid. The grid is old, it's quite fragile, and in terms of load demand, it's really outpaced the amount of generation that we have. Generation is probably averaging about 5,000 megawatts, while what we need is definitely more than 10 times that. So what we do, or what we're doing with the various stakeholders, is first of all to reinforce the grid, right? Make it more reliable, make it more stable. The expansion and the increase in load that we're seeing, we're bringing in additional equipment to support the grid, and of course reduce the system collapses that we have. So that's we're partnering with all the stakeholders, whether it's private sector and the public sector, and even the multilateral agencies as well. So that's one area. The second one is what we've already discussed, is the area of microgrids. We're bringing in renewable energy, clean energy, sustainable energy, and also bringing it closer to the people. Because quite frankly, we can't just rely on the grid. The grid can't get to everybody at this point. So we then need to bring about different solutions that will bring power closer to the point of use. And then the third space is certainly in the area of digital, right? So it's one thing not to have enough. It's another thing for you to use what you're using efficiently so that you're not having a lot of losses, because right now, yes, we're generating little power, but quite a substantial amount of it is also lost either in transmission and in other kind of losses. So, it's really using digital to optimize, to create redundancies in the system, and to be able to adequately monitor. We're bringing in SCADA solutions, advanced database management systems, and other substation automation solutions that can help, improve the efficiency across the entire grid.
And I'm wondering how all of this will fit into the new law. I know, of course, you're aware of states have now been empowered. We see more states now gaining control, regulatory control of electricity. So how does this fit into that new law, the new normal now?
So it's again, again, we want to commend the government for enacting the law. It's something that, I think a lot of people view as positive. I think different states are doing different things, and we've heard a bit of news about Enugu State in particular recently. But in terms of how does that help? Again, it's, we're bringing these solutions to the various stakeholders. So we're not just looking at the likes of TCN or the distribution companies. it's really, we're also seeing a lot of energy traders coming in. So people that trade energy, buy it in bulk, sell it to C&I customers. So all of this space is beginning to open. And as they open, it creates more opportunities to bring power closer to the people. So I think, in the sector as a whole, we need to move very quickly because we are really far behind. I mean, access is probably about 50% today in terms of those that have access to to power. And if you look at it as to those that have access to clean, reliable, sustainable power, the number is even much lower. So a lot of work has to be done. We need to partner with all the various stakeholders, and I think we're not moving fast enough.
So what do you think could be done to accelerate that movement? So the law is more than a year old now,
Yeah.
I believe. We have states just catching on. And even in catching on is mostly on paper, trying to domesticate it. We haven't really, apart from Abia State that's really going very fast, I've not really heard of a state that's picked up the law, domesticated it, and they've started operationalization of it. What do you think can be a push?
Yeah, I mean, these things take time.
Is it politics that's stopping it?
Well, legislation takes time, right? Generally speaking, I think, the process of enforcing these things, and, they don't happen overnight. First of all, you have to create the framework, to ensure it works and it works efficiently without a lot of controversy, So I think we're still going through that process. Of course, there's a lot of funding that is required in the power sector. So, you also have to create that enabling environment where investors can come in, and invest over a long period of time. Again, the power sector is not like some other industries where, you invest today and you can get your money back in 2 or 3 years. An average investment, you're talking of in excess of 10 years. So again, you have to create the regulatory framework where the investments can come in and then give them the comfort that over the next 10, 15 years, they can realize their money in return. So there's a lot of things that need to be done around regulation, around funding, and then having that right economic atmosphere, to create, the right environment for investors to come in. I think technology is probably not the biggest problem because the technology is there. The likes of Schneider Electric can easily deploy the technology, but there are a few other things that still need to be done and done very quickly.
Yeah, because I know Schneider is an investor. I mean, if we have a good law and then we have the ease of doing business and we have the right framework, the legal framework, Schneider will obviously bring that investment and power shouldn't be a problem. Unfortunately, that's been, I mean, I know World Bank says Nigeria uses about 200 billion or so annually because of power, and it's really killing small businesses.
Absolutely.
So I guess these are the things that the government should look at to attract big spenders like Schneider, to that space. Yeah,
so again, the government is looking at it. We're speaking with various agencies of government, for us, it's really working with our partners, and the right players to, deploy this solution. So again, it's something that we're hoping would happen sooner than later.
All right, and we're celebrating 25 years.
Yeah.
You talked about the next 25 years, but maybe we should take it in bits, maybe like 5 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
What can we expect to see from Schneider?
So for us, I think it's a couple of things. One of the first things is what you've already talked about. It's really about bringing people out of energy poverty, right? We talked about lack of access to power, lack of access to clean energy. One of our main focus areas will be bringing people out of energy poverty. In Schneider, we believe that access to energy is a fundamental human right. And so we want to democratize that right to ensure that people have access to energy, people have access to reliable, stable, and available energy, people have access to clean energy. So that's one of the areas we're going to be focusing on. Now, the second area is also in the area of just creating infrastructure, right? So if you look at buildings, for example, we have a housing deficit in Nigeria of about 28 million homes, right? And we're seeing more urbanization, and industrialization. So all of these people coming into the major cities are going to need power. They're going to need buildings. They're going to need homes. So in the area of buildings, the building segment is also one area that we're playing, creating the necessary infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, from the major electrical equipment like your switchgear, your RMUs, and your transformers to, your circuit breakers, to the homes, creating the right infrastructure so that these expansions can happen and happen safely. Because if you look at statistics show that 90% of fires are caused by faulty electrical equipment, and that's one of the things that we're also trying to speak to the regulators, to help standardize and ensure that only quality products come into the market. It doesn't have to be Schneider alone, but we just want to be sure that they are quality. So we think that, first of all, on the energy property side, second is buildings. Thirdly, of course, where it's going to be more digital, there's going to be more software. Software to help drive efficiency. Again, drive efficiency, optimize costs for industries, and also bring more transparency. So it's really about ensuring that the equipment are well managed, the equipment do not fail, we manage them over the life cycle of their equipment, and they can take better decisions to drive efficiency and reduce costs, ultimately to be more profitable. And lastly, we're quite big on sustainability. You've talked about that, I've talked about it. The country as a whole has its own climate change goals and objectives. We're also very keen to help Nigeria, achieve its climate goals by 2050. So we're going to be partnering with the country, with businesses over the long period of time. But for us, looking at the next 10, 25, 50 years, I would even take it further. Right. If you look at the demography of Nigeria, it's a country that would naturally want to play in. Right. First of all, it's the largest population in Africa. I believe it's the largest economy in Africa. Regardless of what the official data says, but certainly one of the largest economies in Africa. It's a young, tech-savvy population. Right. Needing a lot of infrastructure, whether it's power, whether it's water, whether it's buildings. So these are the areas where we naturally want to play, because we can provide all the necessary infrastructure. We can provide the data for the digital solutions that are required, and because we do a lot of work in the data center space as well, which hopefully I can get to talk about, in the building segment, in the manufacturing segment. So it's certainly a country that is a big priority for us. It's one of the 6 major hubs we have in Africa, and we're going to be here for a much longer time than 5 or 10 years.
And it's good because, I mean, you've mentioned the word sustainability quite a number of times, and the other interesting one is the cost.
Yeah.
Because Nigerians are very conscious of the cost.
Absolutely.
So these are all infused in your vision and your plans, especially if you want to capture the majority of the population.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, sustainability is big for us. We care about the environment, we care about climate change, but also in terms of cost. I mean, we realize, let's face it, a lot of industries are struggling. So you always cannot bring the most expensive product. So you have to bring the most innovative ideas. And we're speaking to various industries. How do you reduce wastage? Whether it's the area of energy, whether it's the area of decision making or transparency, how do you cut costs? How do you lower your costs so that you can be more profitable and more competitive? So we have various solutions for that from an operational perspective, whether it's the use of equipment, whether it's the use of software and technology to drive down costs, so that companies can be more competitive. Because it's a global scale. We also want Nigeria to be competitive, not just our products and solutions, Nigerian products and solutions now, to be competitive, not just locally, but for us to also start exporting to other parts of Africa and even the world.
And you also mentioned your play in the data space.
Yeah. So for that, it's actually, globally, that's actually our biggest business, the data center space.
Because the data is a new crude.
It's a new crude. So you think of a population of over 237 million people, which is the last figure I have, right? About 180 million mobile phone subscribers, and everybody texting data. A lot of industries now trying to understand using data to run their operations. So again, a lot of this data has to be managed, has to be stored, and we provide all of those solutions in terms of the cooling systems, the emergency power, some of the software solutions and cybersecurity solutions for data centers. So it's a very, very big area for us for the future. Maybe it's not the biggest area for today, but looking at the demography and how the world is going, certainly in Africa, it's also going to be very big.
Yeah, obviously, data is, because at the root of every decision,
it's now
policy,
data.
investments.
It's now, you can do it without data.
Exactly.
And you need real-time data.
Real-time, because it keeps changing.
Exactly. If your data is 3 months old, information may have changed.
Still.
So you need data today.
Yeah.
And that's what we can help you to provide.
All right, thank you so much for what you do in Nigeria, Schneider Electric, country president of Schneider Electric, Mr. Ajibola Akindele. Thank you for your time, and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.